Welcome to episode 23 of How to Play Ambient Guitar. On this episode, I'd like to answer a question that I've gotten a lot of over the last few years on the channel. And that question is, hey Bill, should I put my volume pedal before or after my distortion pedal in the signal chain? And I think that is a great question because where you place your volume pedal in relationship to your distortion pedal really makes a big difference in the sound. So let's check it out. Get to work. All right, on the floor, let me review the pedals in use. I'm going from my guitar into a compressor, the blue Wampler Ego. From there, I currently have the compressor feeding right into my distortion pedal, which is a Strymon Riverside. From that point, I'm actually going into my amp modeling unit, and then the signal's coming out of the effects send into my volume pedal. And then from there, it goes on into delay and reverb. So in effect, whether you have an effects loop or not, in effect, the order is compressor, distortion, volume pedal. And here's my clean tone real quick. All right. And then here is my distorted tone. Okay, now let me play that tone with the volume pedal, and then let's talk about it. All right, so if you think about what you just heard, the distortion level is consistent. It never changes. The volume pedal just increases or reduces the overall volume of the distorted tone, but it doesn't change the gain. So listen again here. Hear how the distortion level is consistent, even though the volume of that distorted tone is going up and down, the actual amount of distortion is not changing. And that is what you get when you place the volume pedal after the overdrive or the distortion pedal. Make sense? So why would you place it in that fashion? Well, one reason that I can think of, and that I normally do this, is because it's very good for playing leads with, I think, for playing leads with echo, delay, reverb, that type of thing. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so you hear with the reverb and the delay, actually the two delays. It's two delays and a reverb, the more Ocean Machine. You can check out a review of that. I just did one recently. It's cool. Anyhow, with all of that ambience, between the delay and reverb going on, I find it helpful to have a consistent gain that's just moving up and down in volume. In other words, a consistent level of distortion. So the thickness of the tone doesn't change. It just gets louder or softer. So it's a nice consistent tonality all through the lead playing. So that's the first way that you can do this. I'm going to go ahead and rewire this thing, and let's check it out in the other order. All right, through the magic of video, I've instantly rewired my setup. And as you can see, I now am going from my Wampler Ego compressor to the volume pedal to the Strymon Riverside. And here's the clean tone. Pretty much the same as the other order. And when I add in the delays and reverbs, All right, so all good there. So let's kick in the overdrive. I'm not actually going to kick it in. Let's turn it on, and let's see what we get. Now, that's a different sound, isn't it, than the other setup. So you can hear that the gain structure actually changes as I increase the volume. There's not as much distortion as the sound begins to increase in volume. And if you happen to, like I'm doing here a little bit, if you happen to use the volume pedal, if you rock it back and forth very quickly, you can almost get a trumpet kind of a sound. And let me go ahead and put the reverb and the delays in. That actually is a pretty cool sound, isn't it? Now, I said I normally have my effects pedals lined up in the other direction with the distortion before the volume pedal, but I do occasionally flip the order around into this configuration when I want that more trumpets kind of sound. And you know, it's a lot like in this configuration, it's a lot like just using the volume knob on your guitar. Right, so let me turn the goodies on here. Okay, let's try the volume pedal. So there you have it. There's a couple different ways to skin this cat. And like I said at the beginning of the video, they both have very different sounds. Now, which one is right? Which one should you go with? Well, I think it depends on the sound that you're looking for. If you want a more consistent gain structure without the distortion level kind of going up and down, then put your volume pedal after the distortion or overdrive. If your overdrive reacts well to, you know, like volume controls and things like that, and you want that variable distortion level, then you might want to consider putting the volume pedal before your overdrive. If you have more than one overdrive, here's another idea. You might want to put one before the volume pedal and one after the volume pedal. So volume pedals in between the two. And that way, you have the best of both worlds. You can go, you know, either direction, whatever you're feeling like or whatever the song requires. If you've not already done so, I would love it if you would subscribe to Chords of Orion. I've got ambient guitar-related content coming every week. Tips and tricks, equipment demos, and performance videos of some of my music. Speaking of my music, if you haven't already done so, you can check it out on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Bandcamp. I'll put all the links there for you to click on. And as always, I'll see all of you on the next video.